Graphing quadratics in the form y is equal to ax squared. When we look at things that are in this format, y is equal to ax squared, one fact is that the vertex is located at 0, 0. That's going to be a very important fact. This is going to be where we start to figure out how to build our table so that we can graph. Since this format has a vertex at the origin, what that means is that when I have my XY axis, I know the vertex will be right here at the center. Now, the idea behind all of this is to pick a couple of spaces in this direction and a couple of spaces in that direction. All right, so that's the idea. And the number that we start with is the X value on the vertex, which means the next number will be a 1 and the next number will be a 2 if I went in this direction. Now, if I go to the left, my next number will be -1 and -2. Therefore, as I draw my table, and it's in this format, for the most part, this doesn't happen all the time, but mostly, that means I can make a table with -1, -2, 0, 1, 2. Those are normally the numbers that I try to stick with when I do a table, depending on what the original question is asking. So now let's take a look at our first example. So for example number 1, we are going to graph y is equal to 2x squared. Okay, so follow me over here. As you can see here, I have my function y is equal to 2x squared right here. I have my table. We call it an input-output table. Input is x, output is y. And then I have everything set up right here, ready to go. So this is the process that I always kind of take everyone through when we first learn how to generate a table of values for parabolas. So I have my values that I want to use. I have -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. All we're doing is we're taking each one of these x values and we're going to run it through our equation. As you can see here, all of my values have been substituted into the equation. All right, so by following the order of operations, we have to raise -2 to the second power to get 4. And when you multiply 2 times 4, you get 8. Therefore, when my input is -2, my output is a +8. Same thing when I come down here. My input is -1. Order of operations, I get 1. Now I have 2 times 1 to get 2. So when my input is -1, my output is +2. Here I substitute my 0. 0 to the second power is 0. Then I can multiply 2 times 0 to get 0. So when my input is 0, my output is also 0. All right, so we're going to move forward. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest. So order of operations here, that's 1. Multiply times 2, I have a 2. That allows me to put a 2 right here. Order of operations, 2 to the second power is 4 times 2, and I get an 8. So that allows me to get an 8 here. So on this table, when I input a -2, my output is +8. Input a -1, output +2. Input 0, output 0. Input 1, output is 1. Input 2, output is 8. Now that I have a complete table of values, now we have enough to do a graph. So now I can focus on the graph now. I like to start with my vertex, so I know my vertex is here, 0, 0. So I put my dot on 0, 0. And then from there, you can go in whatever order that you want. I like to just go in the forward direction in this case. So my next point is 1, 2. So that means I go over 1, and then I go up 2. Over 1, 1, 2. And I'm up 2. This one, I go over 2, and then I go up 8. So that's 1, that's 2. 1, 2. Then I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to about right here. -1, +2. Start at the origin, go back 1 time, go up twice. That's -1 and +2. And now I have a -2, +8. So I go back 2 times, and then I come up to the number 8. And what I have is just a small representation of my parabola. All right, so this is a parabola. Remember, parabola makes a U shape. So at the vertex, just do your best to draw a U shape. Remember, we're doing this freehand, so it doesn't have to look perfect, but there's certain things that should be correct. Like the vertex should be correct, no matter what. And then after that, you just kind of do your best to make a parabola shape. This will not have any sharp turns, just a smooth curve. And this is the graph of y is equal to 2x squared. All right, let's take a look at our second example. So my second example, we're going to be graphing, and now I'm going to be using this equation. So remember, this is in the form, or this is of the form y is equal to ax to the second power, which automatically means my vertex is 0, 0. So let's begin by completing our table of values. I'm going to start with my first value on my table, which is -2. I plug in -2 here and follow the order of operations. That gives me a +4. I multiply that times the -4, and I get a -16. So in goes a -2, out comes a -16. My next value is -1. Follow the order of operations. -1 to the second power is a +1. I multiply that times a -4, and I get -4. So now I know that's a -4. All right, I have 2 more values that I have to find. The next number is a +1. Raise that to the second power, I get +1. I multiply that times -4, I get -4. So in goes a 1, out comes a -4. My last value I have to plug in from my table is a +2. So the +2 goes into the parentheses. I raise it to the second power, I get 4. I multiply that times a -4, I get a -16. So that's a -16. So now I have a complete table of values. All right, so now it's time to graph our parabola. So I have my graph right here. And I don't know if you paid attention to this small detail, but I went ahead and marked where my negative 16 was, because as you can see here, that's pretty low on my graph. So I went ahead and marked my negative 16. So now I'm going to go ahead and start graphing everything. All right, so my first point, negative 2, negative 16. I go back to the negative 2, which will be right here. And then I drop it all the way down to negative 16. So that's where my first dot goes. Negative 1, negative 4. I drop back to my negative 1, which is about right here. And then I come down 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's my negative 4. 0, 0, that's the origin. There's my vertex. 1, negative 4. That means I go over to the number 1 and I drop down to the negative 4. And then 2, negative 16 means I go over to positive 2 and I drop all the way down to the negative 16. So as you can see, now I have all 5 of my points. All 5 of them. So here's my completed sketch of my parabola. Y is equal to negative 4x to the second power. So that concludes my examples that I want to go through today. And remember, everything that we just looked at today was of the form y is equal to ax squared. My next video, I'm going to go into a different format. This time the vertex will not be located at 0, 0. We will start moving that vertex into different places. Remember, you can find me on YouTube. Just do a search for BJ Jeffries, spelled just like that. And then you see this icon right there. That one right there. That's how you know you're at the right place. So you can subscribe to my channel by searching my name here. Look for this icon, and I have a lot of videos that you can look through over various topics: high school, elementary, middle school, all of it.